the best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
And we are pleased to tell you that we have the owner of that fine establishment, euphemistically referred to as low overhead country, the actual name being Frontier Motors, here live in the studio, ready and willing to take in inquiries from you. Any phone calls if you'd like to get the value of a car, truck, or SUV that you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in. You just give us a call, 478-3116, and you'll have the opportunity to talk to Ivan Streckel. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Don, thanks so much for the introduction. And you're right, we're going to be doing this for about half an hour. And it's sort of a double format. And what I mean by that is right now we're on WCOA radio. That's an AM talk radio station, which we've been doing in the Pensacola area going on 19 years now. And we also are videotaping this for our cable viewers out there, or satellite viewers. So running this on 3 different stations. And we would like to get the word out there that Frontier Motors helps people with anything to do with purchasing a car. And what I mean by that is not just buying a car from Frontier Motors, but what about getting advice on what you should pay no matter where you go? And if you decide to buy a brand new car, I can help you with that. And I'm going to, for our cable viewers, I'm going to hold up the New Car Cost Guide. This is a big red book that we get. Comes out every 3 months. And it has the all the specs in it of every new car out there. It tells me also what the retail prices of that car is, and also what the invoice price is. And I'll use a Hyundai Genesis, for example. The Hyundai Genesis 4-door sedan has the base model has a retail price of $35,200 and has an invoice of $32,996. So it gives me the ability to tell you pretty much what the dealer paid for the car. Now, that doesn't mean I would tell you to go to the dealer and offer him what he paid for the car, because obviously that's not going to happen. He won't be around long if he sells it for what he has in it. But it sure will help you get an idea of what you can offer based on the fact that you know what the invoice is. And Consumers Reports sells those invoices for about $20 a piece. At Frontier Motors, I can give you a copy of that. You just come on in, and I'll give you a copy of the invoice, so that will help you get a good deal on that brand new car if that's what you decide to get. Of course, our whole claim to fame at Frontier Motors is talking you out of buying that brand new car and perhaps talking you into buying a car that might be a half a year old with very low miles, maybe 1 year old, still under factory warranty with very low miles on it. It can be as low as I bought a car the other day that had 50 miles on it. So we have cars that have all the way up to over 100,000 miles on it that we've taken a trade, and we also have cars that have very, very low miles on it. Matter of fact, while I'm talking to you, I'm going to go into our inventory, and I can take a look once and see what type of vehicles that we have on the lot that have very low miles on them. The other thing we can also help you with, folks, is that if you are going to go buy a brand new car, and I can't talk you into buying a low mileage car from Frontier Motors, what I can do is help you with the value of your trade. Now, wouldn't it be nice to have a second opinion on the trade? And if the Kelley Blue Book and the Edmunds and the NEDA confuse you, because it does me. When I go on the internet to Google price values, you have 4 different books, 3 to 4 different books, and they're all a little bit different. So how do you know which one is the right book? Well, why not come to Frontier Motors and let me book the car out for you in real pricing? And what I mean by that is that the way that I get a value is by looking at the auction reports and seeing what a car can be replaced for at the auctions. Now, the Manheim auction is the largest auction chain in the world, and we're lucky enough to have one right here in Pensacola on W Street, but there's about 100 of them nationwide. Orlando is within driving distance. Matter of fact, our buyer drives down there every Monday for the Tuesday auction. Then there's another smaller Orlando auction on Wednesday, and there's a pretty large auction also right down the road in Tampa. And what we do is we compile Manheim compiles all the data of what happens at those auctions, and they give them to me in the form of the internet, where I can go and I can look at a 2012 Impala if you're trying to figure out what your car's worth. And if I can see that those cars are running at the auction right now for about $12,500, I can pretty much tell you, I don't care what the retail is, the NEDA or the Kelley Blue Book, that's about what your appraisal is going to be. Now, if you go to a dealership, and let's say I tell you it's $12,500, and you go to a dealership that tells you that it's going to be $10,000, well, you might want to come back to Frontier Motors and let us just write you a check for that car. And that leads me into one of the other advertising schemes that we do here on COA radio is that we do advertise for individuals that are selling their car. And there's a lot of reasons people sell their car. One of them is this is a big military town, obviously, and about 25% of the appraisals that I do are from military people that are getting transferred. And sometimes they get transferred and they don't get a long time frame to be able to market their car themselves. So what they do is they come to Frontier Motors and we just write them a check for it. And if the check that we write is lower than they can afford to take, we can also do a consignment. Normal will pay you at least $1,000 more on consignment because we don't have to tie up our cash. And there's no risk, obviously. So we can give you a buy bid on that car, and we also can give you a consignment bid. And the worst that we can do is tell you what that car should go for, not based on the Kelly Blue Book or the Edmunds, but based on reality of maybe a car like that we have in inventory. We were talking about inventory a second ago, and I'm going to go back to our inventory. I've got it pulled up right here. I'll give you some of the vehicles that we have that are on the lot that would make you think that we're a new car dealership, and we're not. And for example, we're not a Hyundai dealership. Alan Turner is our local Hyundai dealer. So if you're going to buy a brand new one, we would hope that you would patronize his dealership. It's right over here on 29 in Car City. It's been around for a long time. Great service department. And if you're going to look at a new one, I would urge you to go see Alan Turner. If you're going to look at one that is pre-owned, I would ask you to give us a shot at it. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy, but at least give us a shot at your business to see how they compare with a brand new one. And I'll give you an example. I've got a 2014 Hyundai Tucson Limited, which is the real nice one with the leather interior and the backup camera and the sunroof. It only has 90 miles on it, so that's about as new as you can get. Now, obviously, we're not a franchise Hyundai dealership, so I have to sell this vehicle as used. And the disadvantage is it's a used car with 90 miles on it. The advantage is my job is to save you thousands of dollars versus a brand new one. We also have a 2014 Honda Accord on the lot. It's a burgundy car with 160 miles on it. So if you are going to buy a brand new Honda, you go see Pensacola Honda, or also on Highway 29. If you're going to look at one that's used, you might want to give Frontier Motors a try. 160-mile Honda Accord. Ford, World Ford is our local Ford dealership. We have a 2014 Super Duty F350 in stock with 300 miles on it. We have a 2013 Mazda Miata on the lot with 900 miles on it. How about a 2014 GMC Terrain with 1,200 miles on it? A 2014 Toyota Camry with 1,300 miles on it. An 013 Kia Optima with 1,500 miles on it. Another Camry with 1,000 miles on it. A Ford Fusion with 1,600 miles on it. A 13 Chevy Spark with 1,700 miles. I can bore you to death by going on and on. I've got pages and pages of cars that have under 10,000 miles on it. And because we have so many cars that have such low miles on it, we also take some really nice trade-ins that can be marketed for under $10,000. I very rarely buy any of the older cars at the auction because the auction does not guarantee it. They have to be, I believe the criteria is under 80,000 miles and under, I think it's either 6 or 7 years old, where the auction will guarantee the car. So in case I buy a bad car, they will give me my money back. Well, once the car gets a certain age, the red light goes on and I buy it as is. Well, I get nervous at doing that, so I don't buy an older car at the auction. But what I do is I buy them from private individuals, and I take them as trade-ins. And the reason I can do that and feel good about it is because I get to get the car inspected before I buy it, where at the auctions I don't. So that's why it's very important to me to be able to offer lower-priced cars on the lot also. And I looked this morning, we had 288 cars in inventory, and I've got at least 13 cars that we've purchased that aren't on the lot. So we have just about 300 cars in inventory. And the advantage of being a used car dealer, of course, is that we sell all makes and models. So when you come to our lot, we don't have to talk it into a certain make or model. And that's what happens when you go to the Infinity dealership. As a matter of fact, if you're looking at a higher line car and you're thinking, well, I might want to look at a Lexus, an Infiniti, maybe a BMW, maybe a Jaguar or an Acura. Well, other than the BMW, you got to go to Mobile to look at all those makes and models. And every salesman that you talk to is going to tell you why their make and model that they sell is the best one out there. And they've been trained on this. They've probably gone to the factory for schooling. They know exactly why their car gets better gas mileage or better crash tests. Well, when you come to Frontier Motors, we can sell them all. We can sell the BMW, the Acura, the Infiniti, the Lexus. We've got them all lined up. If you're going to flip over to domestics, we've got the Ford product, the Chevy product, the GMC, and we also have, of course, the Chrysler and the Dodge. Then we have all of the Korean makes and models, whether it be Kia or whether that be Hyundai, and, of course, all the Japanese products and the European products. We've got them all right there. Our salespeople are not kind enough to unlock every car every morning, irregardless of the weather, unless maybe it's pouring rain out. They might delay a hair. But even if it's 100 degrees out, they'll go outside and they'll unlock every car, which means that if you've got just maybe an hour for lunch and you're going to spend it looking for a car, you can come to Frontier Motors without having to get 15 different keys to look at 15 different cars. Our salespeople unlock them every morning. You can sit in them, you can feel them, you can see how the seat fits. And of course, the next step would be to find out how the vehicle drives. We can get slap a tag on there, and you can take the car for a demo ride. Doesn't mean you have to buy it right then and there. That's one of the things you're going to find kind of neat about Frontier Motors, is that we give you the time to make up your mind, and that's not one of these, well, what would it take to put you in one of these cars today? Or what if I do this, would you buy it right now? At Frontier Motors, what we do is we show you the vehicle, we get out a worksheet, we write the pricing and the information on the vehicle down, then we write the price down, then we get our best price. That's always the question that we have, the first thing out of the customer's mouth after we tell them, well, the car is $22,000. Well, the next question, of course, is, well, is that the best you can do? Now, the salesmen are not going to know if that's the best you can do, so they come up to myself or one of our managers, and they say, hey, we've got a customer looking at this 2014 Honda CR-V. We're asking $22,000 for it. Is that the best we can do? I take out my price sheet, and I can see what we've paid for the car, and within a matter of seconds, what I do is a price driver to make sure that everybody out there has got a higher price than mine. I don't want to embarrass myself by giving you too high of a price I'll never see again. So what I do is I make sure I give you the fairest, best price. If my price isn't the lowest, I'm normally going to have a car with the most equipment, or the lower miles, or a better color. There's all kinds of things that you look at when you buy a car. And one of the things that a lot of people don't take in consideration when they shop on the internet, which right now about 80% of the people shop on the internet before they come in. We do have customers that come in that haven't been on the internet, but most people go on the internet to find out what vehicle they like, maybe an idea of what they're going for, and then who's got them. So when you stop in, the one thing people don't take in consideration is the condition of the car. And I'll give you a prime example, folks. I had one of our good customers emailed me about 2 weeks ago and said that he's looking at an LS 430, and I told him I could find him one. But then he got back to me by email, and he says, hey, never mind, Ivan, I've already found one in Tampa, and do you think that my trade-in that they're giving me $28,000 for is a good price? And I got back to him. I said, yes, the trade-in, that's clean wholesale, and I feel that's a fair price for your vehicle that they're giving you. I would go ahead, as long as they're giving you a good deal on the one you're getting, I would go ahead and take that on the trade-in as long as the car passed inspection. He said, thank you very much. And this weekend, he made a road trip to Tampa. What he's looking for, now it's my job to find that car. And the advantage of having me do it, folks, is that I put my money out first. I send my buyer to look at that car, and then you don't pay me until after the car hits our lot and it's sitting in the delivery row. So if I've told you that I can, for example, his trade-in was worth $28,000, and I've got a Lexus that I'm going to sell him for $28,000, the advantage is you trade even up. There's not even any taxes. I don't know if folks know that or not, but if you trade for a value of a car, the taxes are paid on the balance. Well, if there's no balance, there's no taxes. The only thing you get charged for is a small dock fee, which is $299 to do tag work, and the actual tag work itself, which is about $185. So if you've got a car that has the same value, it could cost you maybe $500 to trade. If he comes and looks at that car in delivery row and he finds out it's been smoked in, it's got dings and scratches on it, he just walks away because he hasn't given me any money. People are always apprehensive about giving the dealer money because they never know if they're going to give the money back. So what we do is we do this on a handshake, and we do it on no contract, no signature, no money exchanged, just your word and a handshake, that as long as the car passes inspection, and it's your inspection, not my inspection, that we have a deal. What a great way to find a car at a dealership without having to go all over the place yourself and take time off of work. Most people realize that the dealers aren't open real late. Some dealers are open till 7 or 8 o'clock, but a lot of dealerships like Frontier Motors, for example, we close at 6. So if you got to work till 5 or 5:30, you want to go home and have some supper and then go car shopping, a lot of dealerships are closed. So what we do is you can do this by the internet, folks. You give us a description of the car you have. You tell us what you're looking for. Our job is to go ahead and take the notes and go buy that car for you. And right now we've got about 35 customers that have given us verbal orders to get them a car, which I'm going to hopefully find at the Orlando Auto Auction tomorrow. The Orlando Auto Auction is the second largest auction in the nation, and tomorrow they're going to be running about 6,500 cars in Orlando. And then in Tampa, they're going to have about 2,000 cars. The central, smaller Orlando auction is going to have about 2,000 cars. Mississippi is going to have about 1,000 cars. And there's two auctions in Mississippi. There's one in Hattiesburg, one in New Orleans. So when we add up the auctions just in our area, which is about 3 states, there's about 20 to 25,000 cars a week that are exchanged, which means I've got the ability to bid on all these cars. These are all what we call open sales, which means they're open to independent dealerships like Frontier Motors. And that's, a lot of people say, well, where did you get a Hyundai Tucson with 90 miles on it? What's wrong with that car? Well, there's a lot of reasons that I can find a car like that. The biggest reason is a lot of these cars were ordered for rental service, and they're never put into rental service. A lot of them, like the Ford truck that I have, I told you I had a 14 Super Duty F350 diesel. It has 328 miles on it. Well, that was a car ordered for enterprise rental service. They never used the truck. They over-ordered, or somebody ordered the vehicle and then they didn't want it. So what they do is that if that vehicle sits for a month or two, they flip it into cash by taking it to the auction, and then I'm the highest bidder. I'm able to buy that truck about $6,000 back of dealer cost of a brand new one. So even if I put a profit on it, I'm still going to save you thousands of dollars over the price of a new one. And that's really what Frontier Motors is all about, is saving you money and giving you the alternative to a new car. We've been doing this in the Pensacola area going on 19 years now. We're very successful in doing it. People always say, and I've had this happen from my car salesman, our salesmen come up to me and say, let's say the Hyundai Tucson, for example, they'll say, well, you're asking $28,000 for that Tucson. Well, I can buy a new one for that. I hear this a lot. What I do, folks, is I make sure that when I buy the car, that you're not going to be able to buy a new one for that, irregardless of the advertised price. And I'm not talking about just a Hyundai. It can be I'll give you an example. I bought a QX60 Infiniti, which is their new mid-sized SUV. And when I did the research, I bought this vehicle about $9,000 less than the lowest priced new one that I could find. I'm not talking about the list price. I'm talking about the discounted price. I do a lot of research to make sure that I'm buying the car low enough where I can make a profit on it, but still save you thousands of dollars in depreciation. And that's what it's all about. Everybody knows that a car is going to depreciate, and I'm kind of wondering how they sell 15 to 16 million new cars a month, because everybody knows the car is going to depreciate greatly when they drive it off the lot. Now, one reason people buy a brand new car, number one, they can pick out their equipment and their color, and nobody's ever sat in the car other than maybe a salesman test driving the car. The other thing is people never think they're going to get rid of the car. So it's almost like buying a stock that's been devalued. You only lose the money when you sell it. You only lose the money on that new car when you don't like it, and you show up at Frontier Motors. And I had this happen this morning. We were appraising. Let me think what it was. It was a 2014 Acura TL that a customer bought, and the bid that I gave him based on my research was about $7,000 less than what they paid for it. They only had the car for 3 months. I feel really bad for those people because they didn't buy that car thinking they weren't going to like it. So it makes it really a bad deal for you if you have to get rid of the car. Or, well, let's say you buy a two-door car. I've seen this happen where you buy a two-door car and then you find out that you got twins coming. Well, you ever try to put a double car seat in the back of a two-door car? It's not a very easy thing, not to mention the safety issue of being able to get the child out if it's a situation. So they're on my doorstep looking for maybe a sport utility, maybe a minivan, maybe a four-door sedan type car. And that's why I urge you, think before you sign. Think before it's too late. The worst I can do for you at Frontier Motors, if you decide to buy a brand new car, is tell you what to pay and tell you what they should be giving you for the trade. A lot of times I never end up with the trade-in, but I make sure that used car manager at that other dealership doesn't undervalue the trade-in. Let's say you see these advertised prices, and I see this all the time, where you see a sale price on a billboard on I-10, and you go there, and let's just say hypothetically, which never happened, by the way, but let's say hypothetically you can actually buy the car for the billboard price, and the dealer's not making any money on that because that's their lead vehicle to get you into the dealership. And let's just say that they're not false advertising. You can actually buy it for the price, which, again, I've never seen that happen, but just take the assumptive. Well, the way they make money is by giving you $8,000 for a $12,000 car. Now, how do you know that? Because they're going to talk you into the $8,000 being the right figure. Well, you stop in Frontier Motors with that trade-in before you go there. Number one, we're going to tell you if that's a good deal or not, what they have advertised for, or maybe we know how they're advertising it. There's a lot of dealerships that advertise a sale price, but you got to come up with $2,500 in cash just to get that price. Or you've got to qualify for all the rebates that aren't available to one person. I've seen this happen before, and there's a lot of dealerships getting in trouble for doing this. They take all the rebates that are available and they add them together, and then they discount it off of their sale price car. Well, if you don't qualify for all the rebates, you don't get that price, which is really, it's really a shame that they're doing this, because you might have a loyalty rebate. That means that if you own the same type of car that they're selling, you'll get a $500 rebate. You might have a farmer's rebate. When I was selling General Motors products, they had a $500 farmer's rebate. They had a $500 college graduate rebate. They had a $500 rebate for being a first-time buyer. Then they had a senior citizen rebate. Just went on and on and on. Well, obviously, if we added all those rebates together, we'd have a really good price. The problem is you never qualify for them. So that's another thing. But the other thing is that they devalue the trade-in, and that's why we make sure that we keep that used car manager right by making sure that you know what that car is going to be worth. And if they won't give you that dollar amount at the car dealers you're trading at, just sell us the car. Why not come to Frontier Motors and I'll write you a check for it? If I tell you I'm going to give you $12,000 for the car, I'll just write you a check for $12,000. And that way you can go and buy that car of your dreams as long as it's a good deal. Now, sometimes what happens is that the used car manager just reappraises the trade-in for what it's worth. And, of course, that's our goal. I hope I end up with the car, but sometimes I don't. They just keep the car, and they're just going to end up making less money on it. Another thing to look out for, folks, we've got the flood situation that happened. What has that been, about a month and a half, Don? I don't know. When was that flood, Don? It's been
we're going on a month now, April the 29th, so It's been a little over a month.
So if you've had one of those cars that got some water in it and you think, well, all I'm going to do is suck it out with a vacuum cleaner, and now it's a month and a half later and the car's starting to give you issues, and now all of a sudden you call your insurance company and they total the car before you settle with your insurance company, because a lot of people have already done this. A lot of people have already settled. We've helped hundreds and hundreds of people get the values on their trade-in to make sure that the insurance company is treating them right. And most of the time, the insurance company was pretty right on the value of the car. But let's say most of the time was 51%. That means 49% of the time, they were giving you too low of a figure. And that's why you stop in Frontier Motors. I think, as far as I know, from talking to my customers, we're the only dealerships that puts an appraisal in writing. There's a lot of dealerships you can call and they'll tell you, well, we can book it out for you, but they're not going to sign it because they're afraid of litigation, that they might have to go to court and justify how they get the price, yada, yada. We don't care about that. I'll put it in writing, and I'll tell you this is my opinion based on the fact that I've been doing this since I haven't been appraising cars since I was 15, but I got in the car business when I was 15 years old. That was a long time ago. I was a manager at about 28, when I was 28. I'm just about 58 now, so I've been doing it for about 30 years. So I can pretty much sign an appraisal and tell you this is what I feel that this is the retail value of the car. Some insurance companies will use the retail NADA value, which, by the way, for you TV viewers out there, I brought the book with me. This is what it looks like. It's a gold book. It's an NADA book. It looks like the same one you can buy at the public library because they do sell these, but not this particular one. This particular book I'm using is an official used car guide, which our insurance companies or banks and credit unions in our area use. They don't use the Edmunds. They don't use the Kelly. They use this book. You can't get this on the internet, but you can get it for Frontier Motors, and I'll make a copy of the page for you, or I've got it on computer, actually. I'll print it out, and I'll sign it that this is the values. And you should also get the tax money. A lot of people don't realize that. If your car's worth $10,000 and you come to me and I'm charging you $10,000 for that car, you can't walk out at $10,000. You've got at least 7% tax, which is about $750 in tax you're going to come up with. Also, the tag transfer and the new title is about $185. So they should reimburse you that also. A lot of dealerships charge some other fees. They won't reimburse you the fees, but at least you'll get the insurance money, the taxes, and you'll get the tag transfer and the new title fee. So, and we can put that in writing and sign it. Now, some insurance companies use comparables. Well, I've got a program called Price Driver, so I can get right in with the comparables, and some insurance companies will try to give you the lower comps. Well, as many lower comps as they give you, I can give you higher comps. Our goal, folks, is to help you make sure the insurance company treats you right. And by doing this, I get a lot of customers that come in and say, I don't need a car right now. That car that got totaled was actually a third car. But, in 6 months from now when I'm ready, I'm going to come and see you. And that's what it's all about. It's helping people in the Pensacola area, making sure they don't get taken advantage of no matter where they buy, whether it be a private individual, whether it's on eBay, whether it's on Craigslist or a new car dealership or a used car dealership. It doesn't really matter. What we do is we can do a free history report for you. I can run a Carfax and an auto check at no charge for you. I can appraise the vehicle for you. I can tell you what to pay. I can tell you what the retail value is. I can tell you how many are available and where they're at. So there's a lot of things that I can do for you. If you're going to buy a brand new car, I can appraise the trade-in for you. I can tell you what to pay on the new car. If you're going to buy a used car, why not run it by us? Call Frontier Motors to ask for one of the managers, and we can tell you. You don't even have to tell us what they're asking for, but let's say that you're looking at a 2009 Acura TL with 28,000 miles that's got the technology package. Don't tell us what they're charging for it. Just call us and say, what can you sell me a car like that for? And we can get right into the auction reports. I'm going to add a small profit. I'm going to add on the shipping. And I'm going to say, here's what I can sell you that car for. And let's say that I come up with $22,000 and the dealer you're looking at is charging $24,900. Well, that doesn't mean you have to buy it from us. Just use that information to get them to drop the price down to $22,000. Now, if they don't do that, that's where I come in. Because I'm going to go, if I don't have the car on the lot, we've got 3 TLs on the lot right now, but if I don't have the car on the lot, I'm going to go ahead and buy that car for you. And that's what we can do at Frontier Motors. Just some of the things that we can do. Recalls, folks, right now, unbelievable recalls. It doesn't seem to be affecting the price of the car. Last year, there were 750,000 recalls. This year so far, there's 13 million recalls. Check the black book. Check the Carfax, and it'll tell you if there's a recall, if there's a safety recall. If there's a safety recall, call the dealership, make sure they got the parts in stock so you can get it fixed. I'm not saying not to buy the car. It's not illegal for a dealership or a private individual to sell a car with a recall, but I think that you should know about it, especially if it's a safety recall, to make sure that you're safe in that vehicle. Or maybe don't buy it until they have the parts in stock. That's one thing that you can do. So that's one of the things that we can help you with. We've only got a couple of minutes left. I want to, again, let you know that Frontier Motors is located at 230 Beverly Parkway. If you don't know anything about us, just Google Frontier Motors. You don't need to know the website address. Just give us a Google. We're the first ones that pop up. I think there's about 5 or 6 Frontier Motors in the nation, but we're the top one because we sell the most amount of cars. You're going to see 300 cars inventory, up to 31 detailed photographs. They almost all have pricing on there. If some of them are priced at retail or you're not sure if that's the best price, just email us or give us a call. Ask for one of the sales managers. We've got 5 managers on duty that will give you a bottom line price. Myself, there, my partner Ron, we've got 3 others that will give you a price and give you the out-the-door price. And that's really the price you need, folks. You need the out-the-door figure. Forget about this asking price and discount. Get the dealership to give you the out-the-door figure. If they won't give you the out-the-door figure in writing, my idea is go somewhere else that will. I think they're trying to hide something if they won't put it in writing. By us, you don't even have to ask us. We automatically will give you the price in writing when you come shop Frontier Motors. That makes it real easy for you to take the time and shop somewhere else. And I'll tell you, folks, I'm not going to give you a high price. I'm not going to see you. So I'm going to make sure I do my research before I give you the price to make sure it's a good enough price to get you back into the dealership. I think I probably covered just about everything. One of our little slogans is we make it easy and fun to buy a car. I know you're not going to really believe that until you come into Frontier Motors, but what I mean by fun is that there's no pressure. We're not going to give you you got to buy it today because I got 4 people interested in the car, or what if I do this, would you buy it today? We're going to give you the information so that you know to buy the car when you're ready, not when we're ready. 230 Beverly Parkway, that's Frontier Motors. The phone number is 436-8080. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We've got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors. Low overhead country.